the safe area.
Good morning, agents, and welcome to another daily episode of Target Loot today for November 13th. The series that shows you the Target Loot map, farming tips and tricks, vendor reset highlights, and much more. I'm Agent Shadow, and if you enjoy my content, please consider pressing those subscribe and like buttons below. In the pinned comment, there is some links to join my Discord, my clan on all platforms, Shadow Crew, support my channel like merch and memberships, but we'll cover that and more at the end of the video. Let's go ahead and get started with the Dark Zones first, and of course your daily reminder, highlights from the vendor reset this week, DC, and then New York City Target Loot highlights last. Alright agents, this is just your daily reminder to complete your weekly projects. You have 3 of them, starting off with the weekly SHG requisition for your first exotic cache and named item, and then complete summit on any difficulty for your second exotic cache and named item. And remember, you can join someone on floor 100 or close to it, and this will finish the project once you complete floor 100. And then lastly, the weekly legendary mission. This week is still Capitol Building Stronghold for your third exotic cache. Now, that's up to 4 characters, so that's a total of up to 12 exotic caches and 8 named items. Alright, let's go check out the Dark Zones and vendor reset highlights. Alright, agents, we're over here at the highlights for the Dark Zones and vendor reset highlights for the week. Now, in my opinion, these are just the best, stuff that you can buy in the vendor this week. And first off, we're going to start with the clan vendor. You got a Fox's Prayer knee pads with 8% damage to targets out of cover, rolled with really high weapon damage and crit hit chance. So this is something that's well worth buying, even if you already have a god rolled pair. Maybe you want another close to god rolled pair for another character or another build. So that's definitely worth picking up for sure. And then second off, the last thing would be Cassie. Now Cassie has a strategic alignment backpack with perfect shock and awe. That's rolled with a skill tier, skill haste, and crit hit chance. Just roll that crit hit chance off for skill damage, and that is a really good roll as well. Otherwise, we got highlights for the Dark Zone. So in DZ West, we got True Patriot. That's an excellent type of gear set to farm for, and I got a build I'll put in the top right card now that utilizes it in a SMG, close and personal damage, and DPS tank hybrid way. But otherwise, I really wouldn't farm for stuff in the Dark Zone as the loot is not that good, but when it's gear sets, it really doesn't matter that much. And then as for the DZ West vendor, there's really nothing to look at. But over here in DZ South, we got Tip of the Spear. I always say this, it's a niche build. I don't really think it's worth farming for. But at the DZ South vendor, we do have a Devil's Due backpack with perfect clutch. That's rolled with weapon damage, headshot damage, and explosive resistance. Which of course you'd want to roll that explosive resistance right off of it. And then lastly, over here at DZ East, kind of funny, so this is where you would farm for the Devil's Due backpack with perfect clutch in DZ East with Seska, because it is a Seska backpack. But you're probably better off just buying it at DZ South and re-rolling the explosive resistance. But if you want to farm for the Devil's Due backpack today, you can in DZ East. Otherwise, in DZ East, there is a new reliable with perfectly optimized named LMG you can pick up for 152 DZ resources. And that's the same with DZ South as well. All named items at the vendors for the DZ are always 152 DZ resources. And remember, to get DZ resources, you have to deconstruct the loot in your contaminated bag and then extract them. Alright, let's go check out the North Side Target Loot highlights and invaded missions this week. Alright agents, we're over here on the North Side Target Loot highlights, and for the invaded missions, this week I'm just letting everyone know that Grand Washington Hotel over here, this is where you could reset the mission mode to invaded like I just did, and then of course you can run it again as invaded. And this is what you want to do if you want to pick up Puck's blueprint. Now that's the blueprint to go craft the Nemesis at the White House vendor, at the White House crafting station. So if you want to get the Nemesis and you have the parts from, I think it's deconstructing the designated hitter at Tidal Basin, then you can go ahead and pick that up this week. Otherwise, we got gloves as target loot at Camp White Oak. Of course, what you can do here is farm for the BTSU exotic gloves. And then on top of that, there is a Petrov named glove that you can farm for, which is the Contractor's Gloves with 8% damage to armor and goes really, really well on LMG builds or damage to armor builds. We got holsters at Coney Island Ballpark. This is where you can farm for the 2 exotic holsters, the Imperial Dynasty holster, and of course the Dodge City holster. Both of those are well worth farming for sure. And I believe if you don't have the Dodge City holster crafted yet, then the pieces just drop from holster targeted loot, and then you can go craft it at the White House crafting station. Otherwise, you can get the Forge named holster with 50% shield health on it, which is a whole extra skill tier worth of shield health to your shield, so that's really good for shield users. We got submachine guns at Coney Island Amusement Park, so you can farm for 3 exotic SMGs. That would be the Lady Death, the Chatterbox, and of course the Backfire SMG. But you had to have gotten the Backfire SMG already from the Season 3 rewards. And for the Chatterbox, if you don't have one yet from the quest, I'll put the video guide in the top right. That's about a 5-minute video, shows you how to get it real fast. Otherwise, the Dark Winter and the Apartment are DZ exclusive, but the ones that aren't DZ exclusive that are named SMGs that drop in the light zone would be the Safety Distance with Perfect Outsider, and of course, the Swap Chain. And then yeah, that's about it. Kenley College is closed. Murakami's for that additional skill duration usually, and the Summit you pick your own targeted loot. So let's go ahead and check out what we got on the west side. Alright agents, we're over here at the west side targeted loot highlights. So like always, I'll get started with the gear sets first. We do have aces and eights at Foggy Bottom. Now, what you want to do with this usually is run 3 pieces of aces and eights, 2 pieces of Araldo Holding with a backpack that has Vigilance or Composure on it, and then 1 piece of Chain Killer, which is Walker Harris & Co. And you can farm for that, Walker Harris & Co. to get the Chain Killer chest piece, of course. That's probably one of the best headshot damage builds out there that isn't all high end, so that's something that's well worth farming for. I never recommend Striker. I think Hunter's Fury is much better. And then Eclipse Protocol at DCDHQ. What I always do for my best fire damage build would be 4 pieces of Eclipse Protocol, and then of course that Imperial Dynasty holster or the Vial Mask if you want, and then lastly 1 piece of Golan gear for that 10% status effects. And if you're running the Vial Mask, you usually want to run the Demolitionist spec. You know, that increases the damage of the debuff, but it's not required. Alright, now on to the regular loot for brands and weapons. We do have knee pads at Lincoln Memorial today. So there's 2 exotic knee pads you can get. That would be the Ninja Bike Messenger knee pads, and then of course the Sawyer's knee pads. Both of those are definitely worth farming for as well for DPS builds, you know, and some tank builds. And then also you can get the Fox's Prayer knee pads with 8% damage to targets out of cover. But I usually would farm Overlord for that, you know, if it's available today. But, of course, you can still farm Lincoln Memorial. It's a very fast mission with 3 bosses at the end, so it might be worth farming it for all 3 of them instead of just the 2 exotics. Next up, we got masks at West Potomac Park. You got 2 exotic masks here you can farm for, the Coyotes mask, and then, of course, the Vial mask like I was saying before. And then for the named mask that you can get, I would farm Douglas and Harding if possible, but you can get the Punch Drunk mask that gives you 20% headshot damage baked right into it, and goes really well with the headshot damage build. We got Sokolov in an open world area today if you're looking for that for your SMG builds. We got Providence Defense and Bank HQ. You can pick up the Sacrifice with Perfect Glass Cannon. That works on DPS and skill damage builds, so keep that in mind. It amplifies all damage by 30%, but it also amplifies all incoming damage to you by 60%, so keep that in mind. We got chest pieces at Federal Emergency Bunker. This is where you can farm for the 2 exotic chest pieces, the Tardigrade exotic armor and the Ridgeway's Pride. Of course, you have to complete the Ridgeway's Pride project first, but if you're in a group, matchmake, or clan, you know, with someone that's willing to share it, if you ask for it, then, you know, they could drop it for you and complete that project for you by just picking it up. But yeah, that's about it that I would recommend in the west side. So basically, Araldo Holdings is something else I'd recommend before we take off. But like I mentioned with the aces and eights, this is for headshot damage build, so you want this rolled with weapon damage, headshot damage, and weapon handling. Alright, let's go check out what we got on the east side now. Alright, agents, we're over here on the east side, target loot highlights, and of course I'm going to start off with the gear sets, and I see 2 that have the same issue with them. That would be Foundry Bulwark and Future Initiative. Now the chest and backpack are raid exclusives to the Iron Horse raid, but otherwise all the other pieces you can pick up in the open world. Now Future Initiative is great healer build. You can mix that with an Alp Summit chest piece with like Empathetic Resolve, maybe a backpack with Safeguard. And then, yeah, we got Negotiator's Dilemma at Viewpoint Museum. So this is a great DPS set. You can run it with ARs, SMGs, LMGs, pretty much anything that isn't an MMR or rifle, pretty much. And, I'll put a double LMG build I got in the top right card now if you guys are interested in seeing what Negotiator's Dilemma can do. And I've also run it with Ridgeway's Pride lately for some really crazy bleed DPS builds. And then Foundry Bulwark is like an armor regen tank set, so if you want to grab that up, you can at Jefferson Trade Center today. Alright, so on with the normal targeted loot. So this would be the two things that I mentioned over in the west side. Petrov at Jefferson Plaza is where you'd farm for those contractor's gloves with 8% damage to armor. And then Overlord at Space Admin today was where you'd farm for the Fox's Prayer with 8% damage to targets out of cover. But I very highly recommend you just pick one up at the clan vendor. It's rolled very, very well. No real reason to farm for it this week. We got shotguns at American History Museum. So you can get the Sweet Dreams exotic shotgun, and there is a new exotic shotgun coming out pretty soon in Title Update 12. But until then, just the Sweet Dreams exotic shotgun. And then there's 3 shotguns in this game that are absolutely the best shotguns in this game. And that would be the Mop with 10% armor on kill, the Custom M870, and the Marine Super 90. We got assault rifles at District Union Arena today, so you can run it on Legendary if you want for the highest rolls possible on, one of the best weapon archetypes for an assault rifle, which would be the FAMAS, the Military AKM, Police M4, G36, and the Carbine 7. You can also pick up the exotic Chameleon, and there's several of the named ARs like the Mechanical Animal with Future Perfection, which is amazing on skill builds, and the Maniac, and of course the Burnout named FAMAS. Next up at Grand Washington Hotel, we got Badger Tough. So this is where you can farm for the 0F's chest piece with Perfect Unbreakable. Very good for DPS hybrid builds. Every 55 seconds, on cooldown. After that, when the enemy breaks your armor, it replenishes 100% of it. And lastly, we got rifles at Downtown East. So the 2 exotic rifles you can get are the Diamondback and the Merciless. And I believe the Diamondback is pretty good. The Merciless, you want a lot of weapon handling or braced as a chest piece talent. Otherwise, I would just get an M1A or whatever rifle you want and put one of the best rifle damage talents on it, which is Boomerang, Rifleman, and Ranger. Alright, agents, let's go check out New York City targeted loot highlights last. Alright, agents, we're over here at the highlights for the New York City targeted loot. So first off, we got Hardwired at 2 Bridges. Now this is my best assault turret striker drone build that is out in Title Update 11 right now in my opinion. And that would be 3 pieces of Hardwired, 2 pieces of Hana U, and then 1 piece of Wyvernware. Get a chest piece with kinetic momentum or glass cannon, and then get a backpack, the Force Multiplier backpack, with perfect combined arms, which you can farm for at Stranded Tanker today. Next up, we got Hunter's Fury at Battery Park. Everybody knows this set already for sure. It's an SMG and shotgun up close and personal DPS or DPS hybrid build gear set. So it's definitely worth farming for, and I got 3 or 4 videos. I'll put one of them in the top right card now that utilizes 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, and I absolutely adore this set. We got Walker Harrison Co. at Wall Street today. This is where you can farm for your headshot build, the Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter on it. There's just nothing else that's worth it to put on a chest piece that is for headshot damage builds. It just beats everything out of the water. Now, we got LMGs at Liberty Island today. You can get the exotic Bullet King and the exotic Pestilence. I believe the Pestilence to be the better of the, 2 of them. Otherwise, you can get a named LMG like the Good Times with Perfect Fast Hands, the new Reliable with Perfectly Optimized, the Carnage with Perfect Sadist. That one's a really good one with the ongoing directive build. So that's definitely worth farming for today for sure. And then yeah, that's just about it. If you already have a memento from the Season 3 rewards, you could re-farm it over here at Civic Center. Eligard is over here at the Tombs for you shield build users, and China Light is for those explosive seeker mine and artillery turret builds. Alright agents, well that was the targeted loot for today. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe, like, and share if you enjoyed my content. If you would like to become a member for support and exclusive perks, there's 3 different tiers you can join, from low to a little bit higher of a price. I have more exclusive perks coming out, new custom emojis I put in there, so if you want to pick it up and help support me, then click the join button below. You can also grab some Shadow Gaming merchandise by clicking the link in the pinned comment or video description below. I've lowered the prices across the board as low as I can get them for you guys. On top of that, I got a promo code for free shipping for the next week or week and a half. That will be in the pinned comment as well. And also, of course, I added my new logo and designs to the merch store, so there's a lot more. And a Shadow Gaming hat that I just released a few days ago. You can also support me on alt tech like Patreon, Subscribestar, subscribe to me on Storyfire and BitChute. But really, if you're still watching this video right now to the end, thank you. That really is the best way to support me and whitelist me on your ad blocker. Take care, agents, and be sure to stay tuned for more daily Division 2 content. This is Agent Shadow signing off. I will see you in the next video. Take care, agents.